Welcome to episode 142 of the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business. I'm Brian Fisher. Are you a business owner or executive searching for practical strategies to grow your company? This podcast series focuses on the various subjects and topics to help you run a successful, profitable business and is targeted to business owners and C-suite executives. But anyone interested in business can benefit. It reflects my 34 years as a business owner and subsequent years as a business mentor and consultant. They're approximately 15 minutes long, so you can listen while commuting. In the previous episode, 141, our guest was Nick Arvia, discussing scaling profitability with dashboards and KPIs. Today's episode discusses PR, punching above your weight, with Mickie Kennedy. Based out of the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, Mickie Kennedy is the founder and president of eReleases, a leader in affordable press release writing and distribution services. Get ready for insider PR strategies that can put your business on the map. Let's welcome Mickie Kennedy. Mickie, welcome to the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us today, Mickie. Mickie, I'm always interested in people's stories. What's your background in becoming the founder and president of eReleases, a leader in affordable press release writing and distribution services?
I went to graduate school to be a poet. I did a Master's of Fine Arts in Creative Writing with an emphasis in poetry, and my game plan was to wait tables and write poems, and I tried that for a summer after I graduated. I had always waited tables part-time, but I found that going to full-time worked out to be like 50, 60 hours a week, and it was brutal. And I said, my body, my back and knees can't handle being on my feet 10, 12-hour shifts. So I pivoted to a safe office job in DC. I got hired at a telecom research startup as employee number 3. And among the many things I had to do at a startup was because I had writing as my background, they wanted me to write press releases and send them out through a state-of-the-art fax machine that held 100 numbers, and our Rolodex had 150 numbers in it. So I was programming numbers for hours, and then after sending and waiting 8 hours for all the sends to go through, then deleting those and putting 50 additional in. And I tried to say, could we get a second fax machine so I wouldn't have to delete and move the numbers? But they're just like, oh, it's too much money. It's like $5,000 or $6,000 to this state-of-the-art fax machine. So I wanted to make sure the press releases really counted. And I found that what we were sending out wasn't getting picked up. And I made it my mission to figure out what the missing ingredient was. And it was, to build a story arc into the press release. Journalists, even when they're writing a small article, like to have a story arc. And so that was the aha moment for me. And I really fell in love with PR and the possibilities of what could happen with a good press release with a good story arc within it.
That leads right into this episode's topic, PR, punch above your weight. Why is it that 97% of press releases fail, and how can you be in the top 3%?
The gift is to do strategic press releases. If you look at what the average company is sending out, these are safe releases. They've been written by committee. We now have Judith going from associate HR to VP of HR, and very few people care. And so you have to do meaningful types of press releases. And for small businesses and entrepreneurs and startup, a lot of them feel like we don't really matter. But the truth is, you probably have compelling stories. I mean, there was a little startup that got hundreds of articles, I guess almost 20 some years ago, almost 30 years ago, eBay. And it was about the founder had created some software to help his girlfriend sell her Pez collection online and realized that could be a business. And, it was a story that story was recycled and used in every mention of eBay throughout the early 2000s. Whether it was true or not is a different story, but it was something that really broke down and made it very understandable what this complicated thing is. It's like, hey, you can sell, a collection piecemeal and get the best price for it and things like that. And it just makes it easy to do business. And so what is it that you're doing that is it's got a compelling story behind it. When people appear on Shark Tank, they don't open with their numbers, they open with the story. I was laid off, and my dad and I used to have this little side business we take to the flea market, and I was realizing my dad recently passed away. Could I recycle that and make it for a mass customer base? And all of a sudden, we're cheering for this person because we have that human interest element. And that's what people care about. People don't care about businesses and logos. They care and relate to other people. So what's the story that'll get you that human interest element out there? What is it that you're doing that is different than everybody else? What's your unique selling proposition? These types of strategic things that you can put in a press release that makes it more meaningful. You have a logistics software solution. My eyes are glazing over, but all of a sudden you talk about the fact that 74% of new transportation companies fail in the first 5 years. And that's a publicly available data point, but it just sets the tone of why your software solves such a huge problem that costs so many businesses their livelihood. And so these are things that can really amp you up and make you more strategic. And it's sometimes just reverse engineer what would make a journalist want to share this messaging with their audience. That's their biggest asset, is their audience. And their job is to figure out what's going to educate or entertain, or sometimes a blend of both for their audience. And so what can you reverse engineer to make it more interesting and compelling?
I find the backstories of pretty much anything are always just so fascinating. Nothing ever just happens.
Yeah, I remember one customer, we were working together for a while, and they shared an embarrassing story when they had originally started, that they sort of had to cancel Thanksgiving and get the whole family to go into the garage and do fulfillment because they had got inundated with orders, and they were worried that these orders weren't going to go out in time for these businesses that needed it for the holiday season. So they shared that, and I said, look, we need to put that in the press release. And they were really embarrassed, saying, this is going to make us look bad. And Inc. magazine did a 2-page story on them, and they opened with that anecdote, and they didn't understand why. And I'm like, Inc. magazine's other entrepreneurs. We've all had family sacrifices and family stepping up to help out entrepreneurs. And it's something that a lot of people could relate to. And I think that's why the introduction of it showed where you came from and shared your whole story and how you now have several warehouse facilities and you're doing really well. But, it really, I think, gets that human interest element that you're a family and, your family supported you and you went through this early growing pain. And it's something that I think a lot of businesses can relate to.
And it all started in the garage.
Yep.
We're speaking with Mickie Kennedy, founder and president of eReleases, a leading press release distribution service that helps small businesses, startups, and authors gain national media exposure. With over 25 years in the industry, Mickie built eReleases to bridge the gap between businesses and journalists, providing an affordable way to secure real press coverage. His expertise in crafting compelling press releases and navigating the PR landscape has helped thousands of businesses establish credibility and grow. A recognized leader in small business PR, Mickie is passionate about making media access easy, effective, and results-driven for entrepreneurs looking to stand out. Now, let's get back to the questions. Mickie, how can your PR stand out in the AI era when journalists are drowning in content?
So I think that the thing that you have to do is to sort of, you have a milestone, you have something that you want to submit, and you have to sort of think of it as like feeding your dog a pill. You got to put it in some cheese. What can I do that will make this irresistible to the media? And putting a story in there, sharing a customer spotlight is way better than sharing a product or service announcement. So many of my customers do this standard product and service announcement where here's the new product or service, here's a list of features, here's a quote by a company, and that's it. And it's like, that's not a compelling story arc for journalists to write about. But you bring in someone who beta tested it or tried it out. This was their problem, and they were losing 7% a year for the last 3 years and looked like they were going to be one of these casualties in your industry. And they started using your invoice writing software, and it made them write profitable invoices that they better could understand and price. And all of a sudden, they're projected to have their first profit ever as a new company because of your solution. And then have a quote by them talking about like the software. We felt that if we just won more bids over time, we become profitable. We realized that as long as we're losing money on every bid, we're never going to be profitable. And so it made it so that we could easily understand where our pricing was and where it should be. And, something really compelling like that, that's going to make an audience stand up and pay attention. Like, here's the story of this business, and now it's overcome, and they use this new software, and it gets people really interested in it. And so sometimes putting the spotlight not on you, but on your clients or a case study of a client is really the way to go. And that's the cheese that's going to get them to talk about your product and your solution. And I know it's sort of counterintuitive, but I think that these are the types of things that are effective. And think about it from the standpoint of a journalist. Is a journalist going to want to write about some software invoice solution, or do they want to share, this solution, this company that took this business that was languishing and running out of money and has made them profitable for the first time, which is like a major milestone in your industry. And so that's what's going to get people more interested and alert and invested in learning more about your solution.
We're speaking with Mickie Kennedy, founder and president of eReleases. Mickie, is there anything I've not asked that you'd like to add?
Well, I think that a lot of people feel that PR is something that is routinely done by really large companies and that you're probably too small to matter. But the truth is, journalists get the most accolades, and these are measured by shares of articles and views of articles from putting the spotlight on businesses that no one's heard of. And often these are not the mega businesses in your industry, but the new startups, the new little mom and pops that have opened up, sometimes the side businesses that people have created, and they're still working full time. And they enjoy that because they're seen more as curators. They're like, wow, they've discovered this new thing I'd never heard of. And so while they're going to cover the big companies in your industry, they love to curate and cover these new companies and these new tools and services and things that are out there. And you can be part of that. And it really takes less knowing people. It takes less hiring big PR firms and more that creative mindset of what's the story here, or how can I put a story arc into this and make an audience want to read it. And so a journalist would be much more likely to turn it into an article.
Mickie, how can people get in contact with you?
Our website is eReleases.com. I have a free little masterclass and cheat sheet on how to create more strategic, meaningful releases. So you're avoiding the 97% of them that don't work. It's a great place for anybody to get started. And it's completely free at eReleases.com/plan, PLAN. And I think that's a great place for people to start. All my social media is on the website, eReleases.com as well. And feel free to reach out to my staff. We walk people through their first press release every day of the week. And we'd love to help you discover PR and start distributing meaningful press releases for your company.
Mickie, thank you for joining us today on the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
You're welcome.
My sincere thanks to Mickie Kennedy for joining us today. Managing the performance and future direction of your company are two of the most important things you do as a leader. And I'm here to help you. If you'd like to reach out to me for business mentoring or consulting, help you with a podcast, schedule a speaking engagement, or potentially be a guest like Mickie, please go to bcforg.com. There's a red Contact Us button in the middle of the homepage. These podcasts will be released the first and third Tuesday each month. And this podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. In search, type BCF.org. Be sure to leave a space between BCF and ORG. I'm looking for this podcast to move from an upper mid-tier podcast to a top-tier podcast. Please leave a positive review, let your friends and colleagues know about it, and don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow the podcast. Join us for our next episode, 143, when our guest will be Mike Berksmith, discussing real-world use of AI in business. In business, running a successful, profitable business is the ultimate scorecard. You are never done and can always be better. It tends to be more fun than work, frustrating at times, but can be very rewarding. From BCF ORG Corp., I'm Brian Fisher, wishing you the best. Thanks.